This is the first stitch color, and it's the placement for the batting. And once it stitches, I'm going to add the batting, making sure all the placement lines are covered. And then I'm going to run the second stitch. Once that stitches, it's going to stitch out, this is color 2, placement lines for all your squares. And if you refer to the instruction, it's going to tell you which square is first. This square is going to be first, and I'm going to cover this with a piece of fabric. All my other fabric I pressed really well, but this fabric I wanted to use, and I had it made up for an applique. So it has sticky stuff on the back of it. If I pressed it, it would not fare very well. Anyhow, so I'm going to cover this up, and then I'm going to run stitch number 3. Here is the tack down of the diamond shape. This is the first one in square 1. And now I went ahead and trimmed all around it. And then I'm going to add, this is going to be the patch 2. And I'm going to add this fabric on the adjoining line. This is the adjoining line from patch 1 and patch 2. And I'm going to add it right at the edge, right there. Just going over the edge just ever so slightly. You see that? And this fabric is pretty side down. And we're going to stitch this one in place. All right, here you can see we stitched it in place. Now we're going to flip it right side up. It's going to cover the entire second patch placement line, and then I'm going to run the next color to tack that into place. I did tack down that second piece, and now I have this adjoining line to patch number 3. We're going to lay the fabric in the same manner, placing it upside down on top of the adjoining line. And we have 2 adjoining lines from patch 1 and patch 2. I use this fabric entirely too much because I bought it for my granddaughter. She thought it was really cool, the Shopkins, and then I bought it and it was no longer cool. So I've been using it for projects and for, just little examples. Okay, so we have this laying here, and I'm going to run the next stitch, and that is going to stitch right down here. There, that is in place. I went ahead and trimmed this line. I left a little too much salvage there. And now I'm going to flip this. Just going to kind of finger press it a little bit so it's kind of flat. And then we can run the next color. And that will stitch that third patch in place. All right, I tacked down the third one. And look at Daryl's trying to get in this. This is the second video I've made of this, trying to keep him from being the star of the show. Tack this down, and I put the patch fabric for number 4 upside down here on the adjoining line of the first patch. We're going to stitch this down here. We're going to flip this over, and then we're going to do the same thing with this corner patch down here so that all 5 patches are in place. Please note that this right here along the edges is not trimmed. We're going to be trimming that down to to a half an inch later, and we're going to use that for joining the patches together. All right, I have all of the patches in place now. The next color would do stippling, and that would just do a stippling all through here. And some people want stippling, some don't. I actually prefer the crazy style of quilting squares without the stippling. Duro is still here trying to get into the picture. Hi, Duro. So I'm going to skip that color, and I'm going to move on to the next color. The next color on each square is going to, in the highlighted square, it's going to show you where that is. It's going to stitch out a nice little kind of a planter-like design only in one square. So we're going to go ahead and stitch that next and take a peek. Here we have the cute little floral design, or the plant-like design, stitched out. And the next 3 stitches are going to be motifs that are going to cover these inside lines with just some decorative stitches. You can use different colors if you would like. I have them set up as different colors. I think it's more fun. For time's sake, I'm going to use the same color. Okay, so now we have all the motif stitching in place. Each of them are a little different, kind of fun. Looks great. And again, we're not going to trim the edges because we're going to trim it at the very end with a 1/2 inch all around. So right now what we need to do is turn the hoop over. I cleaned up here a little bit because my machine does not clip. It is programmed to clip, so if your machine clips, you won't need to clean it up like I did. I'm going to add the piece of fabric on the bottom, covering all the outer stitch lines, and I'm going to tape that in place. You might be able to hear my dog in the background. He's playing with my husband and he's being loud. He's trying once again to be part of the show. All right, so once I have this taped in place, I'm gonna bring it back to the machine and I'm going to stitch that final stitch, and then I'll take a picture of the final product.